Hello and welcome to this video. As usual, my name is Mary and today we are discussing about interviews. What is normally asked in a first interview, or rather some of the things that you need to know before you leave your first interview. I am glad to be joined by one of our interview coach, and this will indeed come in handy for you as you prepare for your future interviews. Thank you, Noella, for joining again.
Thank you for having me, Mary.
Great. Sometimes interviews are done in stages. We have the first stage, second, or even the final stage, depending on the position that is being interviewed for, or even the structure of the organization or the industry. So let us focus on the first interview. What is normally asked in the first interview?
Okay. So the first interview, it's basically the first contacts that you're having with the candidate. It could be virtually, could be physical, apart from the screening that was done. So now during this interview, as interviewers or recruiters, we just want to understand, as the candidate, are you the right fit? How well are you going to fit in to this company? So also things like salary, are you within budget? Yeah, so we basically just want to understand whether you have the correct experiences and skills, the expertise, depending on the industry, depending on the company requirements as well. Yeah, so that's just about the first interview, really.
Now, I have been shortlisted for the first interview, and what are some of the things that I need to know as a candidate during that first interview before I leave the interview room? What are some of the things that I need to know?
Okay, so interviews, you need to understand as well, interviews are a two-way street. So you're asked questions that you need to respond to, but you're also given an opportunity for you to ask questions. And this is an opportunity for you to ask more questions, you know, ask the interviewer's question. Maybe could be clarification on the role. You may need to understand the responsibilities. So clarification of some responsibilities, so that maybe if you are picked for the role, you're not caught off guard. It also helps in managing the expectations. Okay. Another thing is to understand the culture of the company. If this is not information that you have access to, you can actually ask during the interview about the company's culture, the values, so that you can figure out whether it aligns with your own personal values. Yeah. You can also ask about the team structure to get to understand the team dynamics as well, maybe the size of the team. That will inform you more whether you're going to fit in to this company.
And especially if you're being interviewed for a leadership or a management role.
Yes. Yeah. We also want to understand the next steps of the hiring process. Yeah. So that's a question you can ask, when you should expect feedback, or what are the next steps of the hiring process, so that you can manage expectations and be on the lookout. Okay. And then lastly, the salary. If this is not something that has already been mentioned, you can go ahead and ask them what is the budget for this role, or what is the compensation, basically, to understand also the benefits that come with the role. Yeah.
I equally agree with you, because sometimes you may look at a job description and it is not very detailed. And yet this is an interview that is being done in stages, and at the initial stages of the interview, the candidate leaves the room or the interview process not knowing all this important information, because I believe that also prepares a candidate for the next stage of the interview. Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing with us. As we summarize in this conversation, is it appropriate now for the candidate to ask for immediate feedback after the interview, and if yes, how can they approach this?
Okay, that can be very delicate. Of course, a candidate would want to know whether they are proceeding to the next stage. Maybe they desperately needed this job due to some reasons. Yeah, so you approach this in a very delicate manner. Yes, it's appropriate to ask, but it's all about how you approach this question, or
like how you bring it out.
How you bring it out. So yeah, you can ask about maybe approaching it in a way that you're asking for feedback. How is there anything that you can improve on? Of course, they will give you feedback on how you conducted yourself during the interview, and that will inform you more. It will help you to gauge yourself whether you could be proceeding to the next level.
Some candidates are smart enough to ask, how would you rate me out of 10 in a scale of 1 to 10?
That's the easiest way to go about it.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Mary.
Great. Indeed, as a candidate, it is important to always be prepared for every stage of the interviewing or hiring process. But with regards to the first stage of the interview, it is important to know some of the important information that you really need to be aware of by the time you're leaving that interview, because that will come in handy in case you are shortlisted for the next stage. You know how well to package yourself, to sell yourself out as a solution to your potential employer. We encourage you to reach out to us if you have an upcoming interview, and we'll be able to specifically tailor it to match the role that you're being interviewed for. And we'll also help you to come up with some of the questions that you can get to ask your potential employer to prepare you better for that role that they are interviewing for. I hope you found this insightful, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for watching.